Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Plant-Based Morning Show. We love a Friday episode. I'm going to play the Rebecca Black song here if it loads. I'm excited. I'm glad it's Friday. I've had a hard week of sleeps that have not been very good. So I'm exhausted and I am ready for a little weekend. All right, we're not getting any music. That's not happening. It's going to be on delay. I'm going to add Doug in here. We can talk about some other things while we wait for the music to begin. Maybe a copyright infringement anyway. Now YouTube always checks that, and I don't know if they've seen us play the Rebecca Black song. Maybe they have. All right, Doug's here. How's it going, Doug?
Friday. Gotta get down on Friday.
Yeah,
bringing it in myself, baby. That's not a copyright infringement. No way.
No, definitely not. I don't think anybody wants that copyright.
Yeah. Happy Friday, Matt. Happy. I'm sorry to hear you've had a rough week with sleep.
Yeah, I have. Holden's been in this like soccer tryout situation for like the past month. It's like an extended thing, and they're coming down to the end, and our whole family just like sleeping poorly because of it.
Like concerned, worried, nervous, that kind of thing.
Just nervous. Yeah, I'm confident about it, but and I'm also, it's been a good exercise to say, hey, like you don't. When kids have something as their identity and they think I'm good at this, that's just me. That's who I am. And then they eventually inevitably get to a point one day where they get, some kind of rejection or something.
Sure.
That can be devastating if it's your identity. And if you have Carol Dweck in the book Mindset talks a lot about this stuff, the fixed mindset versus growth mindset. If you have the growth mindset that says I got here because I worked and I grew here on my own, then it's not devastating when you find out, adversity. But when your whole identity is based on that you're just like gifted with something, then it's trouble. So we've been very much ahead of all that. But anyway, so just stressful, just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate. I mean, my entire identity with this podcast has been built around corn chips, and we've been out for like a week, and so I've been just like totally.
Just don't know what your purpose is now.
I mean, what's my reason for living? What's my reason for showing up?
Exactly. Yeah, so you got the wrong mindset. All right, well, that's good. I have this came yesterday to me, the El Deportista Vegano, which is the Spanish version. It's the first time I've ever had a book published in Spanish of mine, so I'm quite excited about that. But the reason I'm showing it is to take the opportunity to point out that June 6th, I think, which is only 2.5 weeks away, comes out the paperback version of The Plant-Based Athlete. So if if that hardcover's priced you out a little bit, there's the cavalry is coming. Yeah, just hang tight. Man. Just like with compliment products. If you're waiting,
I was about to say, just don't buy anything. Don't support us in any way for the next couple of days. And then next week, Plantapalooza, compliment products. You can stock up, get massive deals, and then 2 weeks later, you can get the book.
It's a good way to buy anything from our company and also any company. Just wait till there's big sales. Just never buy. Eventually, there's going to be blowout sales. It's how companies operate. You just wait.
No, this is terrible advice, Matt. Companies need people to buy full price. Like that's how things work.
Okay.
Or you do what I did, which was this year, like for the first time ever, last Black Friday, I was like, I had things that I wanted to buy, and I waited several weeks to buy them, and then half of them never went on sale, or the company never really did a Black Friday thing, and then I was just disappointed, and and then it made paying full price that much,
right? It's a good company. The company's game theory, playing the long game. They're sacrificing sales now so that you learn not to wait for Black Fridays anymore. Good for them.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, let's see. People are here, which is good. Bianca, always a treat to have Bianca join us on a Friday. Dale Stevens, Leslie Knight, Anne Marie, Mr. Jeffrey. People, I've been talking to all these people all week long in Discord. So this is my people. Anyway, good to see everyone here. And what else? Anything else, Doug, before we jump in today? I'm trying to think. I didn't have any real dinner last night. I had a little Bonza pizza, but it wasn't anything real.
We got back to full on Thirsty Thursday experience, band practice, tacos, and chess,
and the full amount of beers.
And yeah, I mean, I chose not to drink it at 3.
Okay, so you chose not to drink what, a fourth?
Yeah, I chose not to drink at band practice.
Okay.
Which I normally would have. By the way, I've been sticking to this, like, not during the week except for not during Monday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, really
so
well.
Not even Sunday.
Well, Sunday night. I didn't, which meant that last week I didn't do anything because we didn't go anywhere and do anything fun. But
right.
So I don't know. It's like it's been so easy and it's been really good. I'm just really happy with the whole thing. But anyway, got back into playing chess, which was the big deal because it's been a few months. It's been since before the dry challenge that I've had some chess play because I didn't know what to do with myself, not being able to sit at the bar, and it was great. It was great. So it's such a fun game.
It is a fun game. You're right about that. Yeah, Holden's been talking about wanting to play a little bit more chess during his summer, and I encourage that. It's good for the kids.
Mr. Jeffrey says him and his friends are doing a cocktail competition today. I'd love to know what you're making, and maybe other people can have some recommendations.
Yeah, definitely. I just thought of some bit of news. I've been trying to do this 3 tablespoons of olive oil per day, and it's really hard. It's like, as much as I love olive oil, when it's like a weekend time and we're having some wine or something, then I can easily get through that olive oil. And if we're having any kind of not fancy, but like dinner that took effort and it's a Mediterranean thing, I can douse mine in extra oil at the table and be okay. If we don't, like last night, I just had Bonza pizza. I sat there at the end of the day with like 2 tablespoons of olive oil to go, and I didn't have any bread or anything. So I just had like these Triscuit cracker things, like the Whole Foods woven wheats, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Which are just wheat and salt. They don't have oil themselves. And I was just sitting there trying to scoop up 2 tablespoons of oil and eat it. And it was like, I just didn't want it anymore. I don't know. It's a lot. So you gotta space it out of the day. It's not as easy as I thought it'd be. I think
at that point, why not just like take it from the spoon?
I just can't do that. I don't know. I can't. I'm not good at drinking things that I think of as food, like soup in a thermos. Drinking that, I would reject it. I think. I don't know what that is. I don't really have many like sensory things like that, but that's one for me.
Interesting.
Bianca says, dip your pizza crust in oil. I did do that. That was helpful once I started having the pizza. The problem is we were on the go going to my son's soccer tryout game thing. So it wasn't like I was sitting down with it dipping accessible. But later in the day, I had another piece and did that.
Nice.
So anyway, that's that. It just feels like so much oil. I'm worried. Not worried. I'm anticipating when in 8 weeks from now I redo these numbers that they're just gonna be through the roof, and I'm gonna be like, well, that's because I sat there and ate 3 tablespoons of olive oil every day. Of course they are.
You dip Triscuits in olive oil until you choked it down. Yeah.
But we'll see. I've always wanted to do this test, so I'm gonna stick with it. And not every day, but try to keep that up.
Mm-hmm. All right.
See what happens.
Keep us posted.
I definitely will. All right. Anything else, though, before we jump into our weather report? Short and sweet today, but I think these are good, hard-hitting news pieces.
Yeah, I'm really excited about one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then let's jump in. Here we go. Your Friday, May 19th, plant-based morning show weather report. Starting off with a gavel buster. Miyoko's lawsuit. You know we love legal proceedings here, and we love courtroom dramas and weighing in with legal advice. Well, Miyoko's Creamery and Miyoko Shinner released this statement. This is from Miyoko's Creamery on Instagram. This was just after our show yesterday. Would have been great breaking news, but today it's 23 hours old. Miyoko's Creamery and Miyoko Shinner are pleased that they have resolved all legal disputes between them and that they've withdrawn all legal claims made against each other. Miyoko's Creamery acknowledges the tremendous creativity, hard work, and integrity of its founder, Miyoko Shinner, a true pioneer in vegan creamery products, and appreciates her many contributions to the company over the years. Miyoko Shinner appreciates the dedicated team of people at Miyoko's Creamery and their commitment to continuing her legacy through sustained and continued excellence in manufacturing, developing, and selling vegan creamery products. Miyoko and the company wish each other well as they go their separate ways. It was long.
So Miyoko's the company released the same statement. Oh, maybe this is
from Miyoko's Creamery. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Miyoko released essentially the same thing.
Okay.
Maybe flipping of the words, but I've got to say, I'm happy for them, but I'm also a little bit disappointed. not that they haven't worked it, not that they worked it out.
For our show, that our show's not going to have the gavel busting content anymore.
She was accusing the company of some pretty big things, and and then it kind of ends like this, with this dry statement that means nothing. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed that we either didn't get a better picture of what actually went down, or that there weren't changes at Miyoko's or promises made by Miyoko's to continue with certain advocacy work or whatever. I don't know. I just would have liked a little bit more resolution after all the accusations that were coming from her. But they settled, and that's good for them, and I'm sure it's good for her. And obviously, what do I know?
Right. Well, we know a lot, Doug. We give a lot of legal advice here. It's sort of what we do. Part of the service we provide.
We're not really lawyers, but
Yeah. Right. We're not practicing lawyers, but we're practically lawyers. So just, to me, like makes really good business sense. Of course, they would resolve this. If they didn't, somebody would be immature and short-sighted, and maybe that's not the wrong word. Maybe that's the wrong word, because if Mikoyo was so committed to this vegan, advocacy stuff, maybe you couldn't call that short-sighted. That just would be sort of stubborn, and maybe in a good way. But they obviously saw like there's a lot of money to be lost, and a lot of probably goodwill in the sense of like introducing people to plant-based products, whether it's the vegan advocacy stuff or not. Getting people to eat plant-based cheese, this decision, I think, maximizes the number of people that continue to eat plant-based cheese in the next few years. So I'm glad they did it for that reason. It does seem a little silly, like that they were so much enemies and now they're praising each other like this. Just like, okay, that's just part of the PR thing, and fine. I don't really care about the vegan advocacy stuff, honestly. Like with Mikoyo's doing the whatever farm work they did, or farm sanctuary type work. Like, I appreciate that, of course. But to me, the impact they can make is in getting a ton of people to eat plant-based cheese and make people say this is really good. So the rest of the stuff is minor to me. I think let individuals do that stuff. Let smaller companies that exist just for that do that stuff. No, just my opinion. I don't know that much about it or the numbers or how big the impact is there. But I just think this is good.
It is. I mean, it is good. Probably my disappointment is more around the lack of drama than.
I know. I was looking forward to drawn out O.J. Simpson version 2.0 here.
But she's at the Vegans Women's Summit right now, so it'd be interesting to see if any news comes out of that, if she makes any statements, public statements around it, or kind of announcements around something new or different or big. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. Maybe this is not completely over. The story is not completely ended. We'll find out.
I like that.
So tune in next week.
Yeah,
to find more.
Definitely. All right. Next one, Doug. This sounds like Kraft Heinz must have had you on their advisory board, because they have revolutionized the sauce game. Their newest invention, the Heinz Remix, is a dispenser that lets you customize your sauces just in the way that Coca-Cola machine that everybody knows, where you can put the vanilla or the orange or whatever and basically ruin your Coke. They have that now for sauces. So you choose one of 4 bases: ketchup, ranch, 57, or barbecue. I don't know which of those are vegan. I'm sure ranch isn't. I don't know about the other 3. I kind of guess that they are. Then you select flavor enhancers such as jalapeno, smoky chipotle, buffalo, and mango. Interesting. No curry there. No curry ketchup. I figured that'd be a big one. But maybe that's just not listed among the choices. Maybe there are more. And so that's happening. The concern from Morning Brew, where I read this, is everything going to taste kind of like buffalo? Because you'd imagine that would sort of stain with its taste the rest of the flavor tubes. But hopefully they've worked that out. So I don't know what's happening, Doug. I know you wrote the sauce system famously on No Meat Athlete. I know you like to put all manner of sauces and things on top of your food.
I'm a sauce guy.
Yeah.
I do love a good sauce.
So I'm sure that you like the idea of adding even more flavors to what is probably already too much flavor on a sandwich or something. You're into this?
Yeah, I'm into this. I'm really into the idea of this. Okay. I think it could be a lot of fun. What I'm not into is just the thought of those tubes and like how they're never gonna get cleaned, and just
maybe they built that right in.
The whole thing just kind of feels a little gross to me. Even I don't know, that part I'm having a little bit of trouble getting over. I'm not gonna lie. But the idea of having a way to kind of blend your own sauces, make your own sauces, add a little jalapeno kick to your ketchup, I'm all for that. That sounds pretty cool. So I like the creativity. I just the execution is TBD. We'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out.
You know what? Right. What's missing though is the mayo, right? They obviously we're not. It wouldn't be vegan anyway, but like Chipotle mayo or buffalo mayo, that's people mix mayo and ketchup all the time.
Right. Well, there's ranch, but that's not the same. That'd be
No,
different.
not the same. Ranch has all the other flavors in it.
Does the mayo require refrigeration and the others don't? No,
maybe.
I mean, ranch certainly would, though. I mean, actually, maybe not certainly. Who knows what
you'd hope so.
Yeah.
You'd want it to.
Yeah.
Hey, what sauce are you? Are you saucing anything these days?
I put Frank's Red Hot on things. I like that a lot, or a buffalo version of that. That's about all I really sauce. I don't know. I'm done with sriracha for now. Just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So yeah, I don't put too much sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Like condiment sauce.
Yeah.
All right. And last up, New York City, where Eric Adams is changing the game. He and his team have created a brand new campaign, Doug. And as an ad man, I'm very curious. Well, as an ad man, you must have a great idea, thoughts about this. It's called Eat a Whole Lot More Plants. That's the name of their campaign. I didn't look too deeply here, but I can't find any details about what it actually is, except for literally saying that phrase to people and putting that phrase maybe on things. Like, I don't see anything about like funding being rerouted somewhere or default choices at different places. I mean, that's already happening. But this new campaign itself, I think, is just telling people eat a whole lot more plants. So it reminds me a little bit of when we decided to call this show the Plant-Based Morning Show. And our CMO at Compliment said that name needs some serious work. And I said, I don't know, I kind of like it. Just says what it is. No hype. Just what it is. So I don't know. Like, what's your take? 8 what rate out of 10? What's your what score do you give the Eat a Whole Lot More Plants campaign?
Well, I mean, in marketing and in copywriting and stuff, they say to talk to like a 5th grader or a 6th grader or something like that, and this line, I mean, it's very clear what it means. I could tell this to my 6-year-old and she would understand what it is I want her to do. So I can tell it to my 2-year-old. And so, I mean, I kind of like it. I kind of like how simple it is. And they're not trying to be clever, which everyone's trying to be clever these days. I know how you feel about Oatly's clever ad campaigns.
Yeah, right. So. No, right. Cannot criticize them for that. They didn't
eat a whole lot more plants. What can you do for your health? Eat a whole lot more plants. What can you?
I mean, the simplicity is kind of a joke, but that really might be very effective, right? We know that stoplight system that they put on foods in a lot of Latin American countries now has really changed some habits. Very, very simple. You don't need to look at numbers. It just is. And this is my diet philosophy as far as getting the masses to be healthier. I don't think we should be. I'm glad this campaign isn't called Go Vegan or Go Plant-Based or Plant-Based Summer or any of that.
Right.
Add plants to your diet, I think, is how you get way healthier. Right. I mean, yes, reduce the meat would help. But go vegan. People don't want to do that, unfortunately. So eat a whole lot more plants. If people actually do it, great. I don't know if anyone will listen, but the message is right.
You think of like eat more plants would have been the more obvious choice, but eat a whole lot. I don't know. Adding the a whole lot almost makes it kind of like a joke, and I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's kind of tongue in cheek, and we're not getting it.
Or eat a lot more plants.
It's not eat a whole. They didn't capitalize whole, like eat a whole, like whole plants. They didn't do that.
Yeah, no, it's just like eat a whole lot more plants. I give it a 10. I give it a 10.
10. God. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't expect that at all.
What would you give it?
Well, I said 8 accidentally as I was saying 1 out of 10. So I'm going to stick with 8. I think I got anchored to that.
Okay.
Now, but that's my number. Yeah, I don't hate this. It's all right. Pretty good number. I mean, pretty good ad line. I love NY, right? That thing took off like crazy, and that's pretty dumb.
The what?
I Heart NY.
I
think that was like an artist who did it for them, but I mean that became a brand in itself.
Sure.
So maybe this will become our next one.
A whole lot more plants.
People are gonna get patches of this for their backpacks and all that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Walk a whole lot more steps.
There we go. It's just infinite variations on this we can do for all kinds of healthy behaviors.
Pull a whole lot more ups. No, that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. Yeah. All right. Good enough. So that's our weather report. We got one article today. It's. I mean, we've talked about this a lot of times, but it keeps coming up, so it's worth going back talking about it. Plus, there's nothing else today. I mean, I don't know how long we've been, Doug, since we've done a Best Life Online or Eat This. Not that. Probably the longest we've gone since we discovered those sites and the treasure trove that they are of garbage content that's perfect for like Fridays on the show. But I looked at it today. I didn't find anything all that interesting, so did not do those. And instead, we've got something more important. A plant-based news article by Pia Wurtzinger. And the title is this the beginning of the end for vegan meat alternatives? So one of your colleagues over there at Plant-Based News, Doug, has decided to go to bat for the plant meat companies. The subheadline here is certain factions of the media would have you believe vegan meat is on the way out. We look closer at the evidence. So context here, we got all hyped about vegan meat in the fall when we started, end of summer when we started the show last year. Mm-hmm. That was 2022. So time capsule when someone's listening to this episode, decades from now, just so that they understand where things were in the timeline. That's a joke. No one's going to listen to the show tomorrow. I mean, but anyway, we got all excited about these plant meats. They were coming out like crazy. There was frozen products. There was, I don't know, whatever else. Every category.
We were making trips to specific grocery stores just to buy certain frozen
and it was everywhere. And we got really excited about it. We ate too much of it. We both got a little bit tired of it and had to pull back somewhat. But around that same time is when all the bad news started coming for the big ones, Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, started having layoffs, bad, revenue numbers, profit numbers, nobody hitting anything close to the astronomical projections that people projected around COVID time when the boom really happened. And you and I said at that point, we said, this is a temporary slump. It's that, like everything else, there's this hype cycle that happens. Things get overhyped. There's this disappointment when they can't reach that hype, but then they go back and build and they build and build. And then, 5 years later, it's this big thing that happened. It kind of happened with the internet. Kind of happened with, we think it might be happening with crypto, who remains to be seen. But lots of things happen with AI. So that's what we thought.
The metaverse.
That's still to be seen as well. I don't know if anyone's going to want to do that. Anyway, though, so I've a little bit revised my stance, and this is entirely my personal bias. I've just, from having so much of it, it kind of set me off this path where I had none of it for the month of January. That was one of my resolutions. And since then, I've had very, very little. And I've started thinking it's done. And now that cultivated meat is on the rise, it's being served at the Vegan Women's Summit this very weekend. And we're going to have Rachel Dom, one of our listeners, come back and give us a first-person account of what that cultivated meat tasted like, if she's willing to try it. I don't actually know that she is. I think it's dead. I think cultivated meat is going to replace it. I think this is going to be seen, this plant-based meat is going to be seen as this awkward middle ground that we went through. And like, it's either all the way like to this somewhat more natural, although oddly high tech cultivated meat without so much processing per se, or, the classic humble veggie burger where you can see the vegetables in it, clearly a healthy thing for you, instead of this sort of manufactured, processed thing, ultra processed thing. So that's my new prediction.
So you're not saying that the bean burger is dead, right?
No,
you're talking about
okay. This thing that seems a lot like meat, but isn't. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm saying cultivated meat is pretty much meat. It just has, its own hurdles and things. But that's my prediction. It's a little bit of a hot take. I don't know if I'd really stake any amount of money or life on that prediction, but I don't hate it. I think the middle ground's often not the place to be. And if this is the awkward middle, then I don't want any part of it. So you Doug, you think otherwise, and then we'll get into I
do. Yeah. I think that plant-based meat is just going through a growing phase. I think that growing pains. I think that it's going to shuffle out. Everyone invested a ton of money. All of these meat companies invested a bunch of money and products into seeing what they could come up with, what would stick. This article starts out by talking about Heck, which is a UK-based meat brand that had 15 products, and now they're dropping it down to 2. And I think that's what's going to happen. Everyone was putting out, corn dogs that were breakfast sausages wrapped in pancakes, and of course, maybe that's not going to work, right? It's such a niche thing. But I think that there's going to be a couple leaders that remain in the plant-based meat space. They're still doing chicken nuggets. They're still doing chicken patties. They're still doing beef burgers or meat burgers. And they're going to pave the way. They're going to continue. There's going to be a lane for that.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Reasonable prediction for sure. I really have no way of knowing who's right or even thinking one's more right than the other. But Yeah,
Time
I like
will tell.
that. It will. We'll see. So anyway, Pia, her approach here. So she first, this whole thing centered around Heck. It sounds a little bit like Pia's a little bit annoyed that Heck has come out and sort of publicly stated that, well, what they said is, we had a huge range of vegan products because, like everyone else, we believe what was being written in the press. The vegan market is really funny. And it seems that Pia has taken offense to that and sort of sets out to defend the plant-based meat. There's not a whole lot of, I don't know. I was kind of thinking this was going to be an in-depth analysis and that we'd be looking at numbers and we'd see that, like, yes, there's a little bit of a revenue dip happening or a flattening, which I think is this current state of the market, that it is sort of flat. At least in 2022, it was flat compared to the previous year after lots of growth. So the longer term trend is still growth, but recently not. And some of the big ones have had, taken a dive. So I was hoping to see that sort of stuff, but it's not too much. It's sort of just like one-off here and there kind of like responses to different things. So I'm not totally convinced by the article. I mean, the reasons that she sort of cites here are first of all that well, there's a few different things. The Beyond Meat controversy she talks about, and that one, there was this guy getting arrested, right, when he fought in Alabama or whatever that was. That was or something. That was a weird thing. Public perception took a hit, and that was when, at the same time as the numbers were dumping and people were getting laid off.
I think she's kind of blaming that controversy towards the numbers dipping,
right?
And public perception dipping, and I would say that 99% of people who even tried plant-based or Beyond Meat have no idea what that is. So,
right. Yeah, like if not for the show, I don't know if I would have known that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I can't buy that one. Cost of living crisis is next, and then she says, with Heck, if the customer doesn't like the product, why would they buy it? And apparently, she looked at some of the feedback and of the products they're discontinuing. There was a strong indication that the customers simply were not blown away by the products. And she says, "Is it the market's fault? Your product could have unfavorable reviews." So at that line, she's lost me a little bit. I started thinking, okay, now this is just like a little vendetta sort of situation. Yeah, I mean, yes, cost of living is going to make all industries have, not all, a lot of industries have trouble, especially if these things are premium. But the fact remains that these things are premium. And that's a problem, I think, in a lot of economic climates that the people who are buying these, people who I would imagine a whole lot of food shoppers are looking not to spend a lot of money on food, no matter what's going on. That's how I feel. So I don't know. It's I'm just not buying that.
Well, and I mean, if the plant-based meat community as a whole can't get a product together that people like, then of course they're not going to buy it, and that's not Heck's fault. That's just that's I think a lot of people just don't like the plant-based meat yet.
Right. And that's a big thing going on in the background here, is that it's not just Heck that this is happening to. And she mentions that actually as kind of a defense that that there's a lot of these small companies who are going by the wayside because of all this competition. But the natural question to me then is, okay, if we're blaming the competition from other plant-based meat companies, then how are those other companies doing? And when you look at the industry as a whole, the market as a whole, like I said, it's not growing, which doesn't mean it's dying, right? If it's just stagnant, that's maybe okay during an economic downturn period. So I don't totally disagree there, but I'm just not convinced at all that that vegan meat is not on the way out. And finally, she says veganism is not a diet, and this is an interesting point, and it relates to that Miyoko's thing we're talking about. That veganism is a lifestyle choice, not just about food. That's what she says first. And a lot of these companies are large, like chicken manufacturers, or at least parent companies own stakes in all kinds of other animal agriculture brands, and they're not vegan companies. They're just doing this to make money and to serve an audience. But the companies themselves aren't vegan. So, aside from things like cross-contamination or whatever, there's lots and lots of production practices that she says that aren't necessarily sustainable or ethical. And that people who are going to buy this, they want veganism. And I don't know. It's one perspective. I just don't know if that's not how we're going to meet those super hyped expectations of vegan meats.
Right. I mean, I think that that's a totally fair criticism, and I believe that certain people will not buy and support certain companies because of that. But if you want mass adoption of a product, like most people are not vegan, and most people probably will never go vegan. If we want mass adoption of the plant-based meats, then then that doesn't really matter. Most people aren't thinking about that because they're also at the same time buying the real chicken nuggets, right next to it. So from the same company. So I think that this isn't. I'm not trying to talk down on the author.
Yeah, I'm not either. By the way, I want to clarify that. I appreciate the article. I'm glad we have this to talk about and the perspective, and it's good, and it's making me think about this. I happen to disagree with the points, or think that it's not. I'm not convinced at all. But it's not to say it's a bad article.
But I do think that this is kind of the problem with the vegan community making this argument repeatedly. Again, like it's not dead, it's still growing. But I mean, what we need to do though is, it was probably artificially inflated in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody was dumping money into it. There was a ton of press and hype around it, so it grew really rapidly and probably too fast, right? Yep. And so to be stagnant is just the market catching up to that rapid boom. And and now we kind of got that baseline. We got people who have tried it, who are kind of the early adopters still. I would say that it's still early adopting. And now we need to figure out how to make it a little bit better, how to bring it into more restaurants, how to do, get more people to try it, or get more people who have tried it to continue to choose it again. Like, and then that will grow. So to me, to be stagnant, is not that scary of a thing, right? Because I do think it kind of artificially inflated and grew too quickly.
Yeah, right. No, it's. I mean, to me, I'm not at all convinced that from the numbers that it's dead, right? I mean, I personally think from the health standpoint, because of the little personal journey I've been on, I realize I'm kind of biased. But I don't know. It's who knows. There are a lot of hurdles to overcome, I think. Still, the price is a big one. The people being afraid of the food, Frankenfood, including me, kind of a little more than I used to be, just thinking this is unnatural. And then cultivated meat coming along, which to me sounds way more natural, as odd as that sounds.
Which is very odd. I mean,
it is. But what I'm putting in my body is this, again, that old genetic, molecularly equivalent to what people have been eating for hundreds of thousands of years, or whatever. I feel like that's a little more robust, safe choice than something that isn't. And in small amounts, of course. I'm not saying you should base your diet on that stuff, because then you're in the same problem as the carnivore diet. So anyway, that's it. Good. We will see where that goes. Let's see what's going on here. Bianca says, I agree with Doug on this. I think there will always be a market for vegan meats, which is interesting. I think, we'll see. And Bianca says she will always be in that market. I'll try the cultivated stuff, but I wouldn't eat that regularly. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm shifted to the opposite here. I used to be in that boat too. I think now I would eat the cultivated stuff regularly. After a while, after I'm convinced that it's healthy, whereas stuff that seems like manufactured, ultra processed, I'm just not sure. Again, I totally recognize that you could say the cultivated meat is ultra processed, and I wouldn't have much argument against you. It remains to be seen what's going to happen with that stuff. And Aisha, no surprise here, prefers the humble veggie burger. Aisha always has the health perspective. She seems not to be swayed or tempted by all this junk food people are making.
As much as I love Beyond Meat and think that it serves a diet, it serves a place in my diet, I think I'm with her. And I know that kind of like that humble bean burger. Like I could eat that all the time, and I could not eat a Beyond Burger all the time.
Yeah, right. I know what you mean. It just doesn't seem. It just seems too fake. It just seems like you're eating too technology.
Too heavy. It doesn't leave you feeling as good as
Right. And that's why we love plant-based diet from the beginning, right? You feel good when you eat vegetables and beans and whole foods, and that's really what we should be doing. So I'm much more on that side than I was. I was all about the meats early on here, or the plant-based meats.
Well, they are exciting. I still think it's exciting. I still think it's cool that you can go to Burger King or whatever and get a Whopper.
It is fun. It is fun, and maybe that. I mean, it's hard to imagine that will be the role. But like, as far as a healthy eater goes, or someone who's a little bit skeptical about stuff, for me, like to have, let's say it ended up being once a month that I have that wouldn't concern me from a health perspective. That's nothing, and then allows me to still go to a barbecue and go to Burger King and all, and that's the way to do it. And I've never really done it that way. I've done it where I was doing it much more often than that. It got to the point maybe once, twice a week. and now it's been none. So I haven't really had that middle ground period. So we'll see what happens then.
Yeah.
All right. Good. That's it then. Thanks everyone for coming. We were 5 minutes faster than before, Doug, and we're getting a little bit tighter. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think so.
It's Friday, right? We're not on a time crunch on Friday. Get the whole weekend.
The whole weekend, Matt. It's Friday, man. I'm excited. It's Friday.
Yeah, we never got our music. It never played, did it?
No, it didn't.
Here we go. Come on. The gavel played. The weather report played. It's just not meant to be.
Not meant to be.
I really want that song.
You want me to sing it again? I can sing it again.
No, that's what.
There we go.
All right. That's it. All right, everyone. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, like we always are. Don't forget, go to YouTube, youtube.com/NoMeatAthlete. Check us out there. Subscribe to the show. Smash that like button. Smash the subscribe button. Smash the bell. Can you smash everything? Man,
whoa, what? Sorry. I missed everything. I'm smashing some sneezes right now.
Yeah.
Let's smash it.
All right, so do all that, please. Support the show. It helps us so much to have that. Our podcast is at Spotify, Apple. Go to those things, download, rate, review. We don't ask for that stuff too much, but it helps us out a lot. So please do that, and look forward to seeing everyone on Monday.
Sounds good.
All right,
bye, everybody.
Goodbye.